For young friends are driving around the town, enjoying Morgan's birthday. Morgan and Chris are a couple, and on the other side, Morgan's sister Jenny and Chris's best friend Jonah are together. They stop at a gas station, and Jonah gets out to buy some beer. Morgan accompanies her. Inside the shop, she secretly takes a pregnancy test and enters the washroom. Later, they all sit by a fair. Chris offers her beer, but she doesn't want to drink. He says that she is the best when she drinks, which kind of upsets her. However, he is soon called by friends, and he drags Jenny away. Morgan and Jonah sit together, and he jokes about how they have gotten together with their exact opposites. She says she has no mood for drinking this night, and he hands her Pepsi, saying not to mind what Chris said. He is drunk, and there is nothing about her that is boring. Morgan then reveals to him that she is pregnant. 17 years later, Morgan is at her house when her sister and Jonah, now married, drive in. They have had a baby named Elijah, and they are together on the occasion of Morgan's birthday. Morgan and Chris's daughter, Clara, is driving home. She doesn't respond to her mom's call. She spots her classmate Miller on the road by a speed sign, asking for a lift. She stops and cleans up the car. She reaches him, and he requests that she come up. He is stealing a city limit sign, claiming he's only moving it, and requests her help. She comes out, but her slippers break. He says that the pizza won't deliver outside the city limit, so he is moving it close to his house. After it is done, she gives him a ride home. He checks out her stuff and sees the flyers that indicate she is trying to get into drama school after graduation. Apparently, Miller says his grandpa is trying to get him into that film school as well, but he is pretty sure they cannot afford it. Soon, his girlfriend calls him, and he lies that he is taking a ride from some dude. She side-eyes him, but he tells her not to be too nosy. They reach his house. He invites her in, and they pass by his grandpa, Hank, who is only pretending to be asleep. He shows her his room, which is filled with movie posters. He insists and hands her some cash for her help and damaged slipper. Soon, his girlfriend calls him again, and she leaves. They stop by the doorway, and Hank begins a bit of chat. He has cancer, and Miller doesn't let him smoke. He jokes that he will not give his inheritance in his name. Miller says he owns nothing but air. She returns to the car and drives away. Jenny is making her birthday cake when Clara calls her. She picks it up, putting it on speaker. Clara asks if she is on speaker, but Jenny lies. She then begins to tell him about how he dropped the coolest kid in school, Miller, at his house and spent some time inside. She also requests that she not tell this to her mother and hangs up, saying she is reaching there soon. Morgan says it scares him how good a liar she is. At lunch, they sit together along with Clara's best friend, Lexi. They are all excited about the new member of the family. Morgan says how similar he looks to Clara at the same age. Lexi says that Miller is following her on Instagram. She then has to tell them that she has given him a ride home. Chris remembers his father, who is in prison for drug dealing, and both parents are uncomfortable about her dating him. Jonah, who is their teacher in high school, knows Miller to be a very good boy, but Morgan doesn't trust that. Clara defends, saying she merely gave him a ride, and he already has a girlfriend. Jenny says then it's better she stays away from him. After lunch, Jonah hands Morgan her birthday gift, a packet full of Jolly Ranchers, her old favorites. Eventually, they leave, and Chris wishes her a happy birthday again. Clara gives her mother a gift of a wall poster filled with all their tiniest memories. There, she talks of her future plans, where Clara wishes to get into the drama school, but her mother tries to get her into something more common that has a certain future. The next day, Clara is about to leave for school and Chris for the office. Jenny is there to leave her son, for she is going to get to the office after maternity leave. Before they leave, Clara tells Jenny that Miller has unfollowed her. She says that social media is confusing, and they leave for their work. On their way to school, Lexi tells her that Miller and his girlfriend have broken up because a rumor has spread that he cheated on her with Clara. In class, Clara sees Miller, who appears very upset and angry. Later, she keeps texting Jenny about it, and she advises her not to be the other girl. She asks if she has ever been the other girl. She is about to text something, but it doesn't reach. She keeps sending her texts, but no responses come. At the house, Morgan receives a call that her husband has been in a car accident. She rushes to the hospital and sees Jonah has come in. She frustratingly says she cannot get Jenny on the phone. He is surprised, saying he is here because Jenny has been in a car accident. They are both dumbfounded, and they reach the doctor, who gives them the news that none of them could make it. Back at the house, the family breaks down in heavy devastation. Later, Jonah begins to wonder and question the possibilities of them being together. He wonders about an affair, but she doesn't want to delve into it and leave. At her father's funeral, as the priest gives the speech, Clara can't handle it and gets out of there. Miller sees her going away. She sits outside and checks her last sent texts, feeling wrecked. Morgan gives a sermon while Miller has come out to give Clara company. She says it's unbearable more because her mother separated both their funerals. She wishes to leave, and Miller tells her that they should. They then drive out in his car, and she feels a little at ease. She then suddenly says that she wants to get high, and asks if he has any pot. He doesn't smoke, but he knows where to get some. He grabs it from the dealer as Clara ignores her mother's texts. She smokes and coughs horribly. As everyone leaves the funeral, Morgan is stunned to see that her daughter isn't with Lexi. She then opens her tracker and sees her parked somewhere. Inside the car, Clara tells him that now that he has broken up, he can follow her back. But he says that they are back together again. She says that she should not have given her company then. He says he would have felt worse if he had not. Soon, her mother parks by and is furious to see her with Miller. Clara says her mother tracks everyone. She gets out of the car, and Morgan keeps giving him the angry look. She then leaves and gives Clara a mouthful. Moreover, realizing she has been smoking, she gets even more furious. Morgan says she is grounded for probably forever. At night, Jonah reaches her house to check up on her. He begins the talk of why Chris was driving Jenny's car and they were together. Morgan stops her, saying Clara will listen. He asks where even Chris's car is. She hasn't thought about it and opens her tracker and shows him the location. Clara, lying in her room, hears that her mother is gone. They reach the place, and it is a hotel. They park and see his car. Clara skips from the window and reaches the theater where Miller works. She says she escaped and asks for a ticket. Miller says the family goes in free, so she can say she is his sister. Jonah brings out Jenny's belongings from a hotel, and Morgan says this is the hotel Chris would bring her to often. She checks out the bag and sees underwear. In anger, Morgan gets out with the bag and starts banging it over the car until calming down. Inside the theater, Clara is sobbing, and Miller comes to check on her. Morgan says that no matter what, Clara must not know the truth about them. She returns home and is so angry that she breaks down a door and gets her legs stuck. Clara has returned and comes to help her, only to make her mother further enraged, that which drives her away. She cleans up the mess and sees Clara's childhood heights stamps on the door, which makes her overwhelmed. In her room, Clara texts Miller, thanks for making her feel better for the night. Suddenly, a knock is heard on the door, and it is Jonah who has come in with the baby. He is frustrated that he sees Chris's face on the baby and doesn't want to do anything with it anymore. She is worried and asks what he is trying to do. He says he will need some time to get rid of these feelings. Clara, standing in the doorway, doesn't understand what is going on as Jonah leaves. Now Morgan is up for taking care of the baby and hustling through the shop. Back at home, Clara comes and says that she has been in the same clothes for days and is constantly drinking. She further points out that she is taking care of someone else's kid. Morgan then requests that she get some formula for the child. She says it's Jonah's responsibility and walks out. She reaches straight to his house and bangs on the door. Jonah lies there trying to avoid, but his TV is on and she can hear it. He opens the door and she asks what exactly is going on. She sees that he has packed up the things of Jenny. He says that they haven't unpacked after moving in. She once again reminds him about the baby, but he says he's not really in a good place. But neither are them. Clara rectifies. She adds that Elijah rolled over last night and he gets a little excited. She says it's a lie, but he soon will, and he will miss a lot of the memories. Jonah gets out of the house, and before that, she asks if he would give her $50 and she will clean up the house. He agrees and reaches Morgan. He takes the baby and apologizes to him, along with Morgan. At his house, Clara opens the boxes and checks out the old photos of her father and Jenny and sobs. She returns to the house after evening, and worried, Morgan furiously asks where she has been. She says she was cleaning Jonah's house and angrily leaves. In one morning at a cafe, Miller texts Clara where she is and soon appears from behind. She is shocked and she says she doesn't like being his backup plan. He says that he has officially broken up with his girlfriend. He asks if she would like to go on a ride, and they leave. They reach his house, and he talks about how his mother died years ago and is now being taken care of by his ill grandfather. Jonah is at Morgan's house, helping fix her door. He brings up the talks from 17 years ago about how he would stalk her notebook in class. During the evening, before she is about to leave, Miller tells her that she was never his backup plan, but rather the opposite. His ex was the backup plan for her, and he has always loved her. It sparks the connection between them, and they eventually kiss. Jonah is about to leave to take Elijah, who is at his mom's. She asks if his mother knows the truth, but he hasn't told her. He says that Clara might want to know the truth, and when Elijah grows up, he might as well. But Morgan says she never knows what Clara ever wants. He reminds her of when they were of this age. Everything was so intense. She says she can't remember anything. He replies that nothing makes you remember more than music. He then plays a song. She instantly goes back to the time they were playing in a pool. Jonah called her in, and once they were closer and she slipped a little bit, he held her with his feet. There, he says that they might have got it wrong. Soon, the other two come in, and they let it go. Morgan remembers it now. Clara comes in and sees them a little teary-eyed and leaves for her room doubtfully. Miller and Clara are at a burger place where Lexi works at, and she asks Miller if he has found her a boyfriend. He sets her up with his naive friend, but he is a little too sweet for her. Morgan is at the house working when Jonah walks in, saying that Elijah is sick. He is a little too worried, but Morgan comforts him, saying the first time will always be tense, but he will be good soon. Clara returns home, and she asks where she has been. Clara lies that with Lexi, but she knows she has been with Miller, and says that is not worth throwing her life away for him. She says she merely went to a movie and leaves. While trying to look into Chris's toolbox to tidy up the house, Jonah finds a bunch of letters. Chris and Jenny were transferring them over the years, under their noses. She is certainly angrier, and looks at the painting on the wall, done by Jenny. Together, they decide to destroy the painting, and do so. Miller takes Clara to a surprise movie night. Morgan and Jonah once more delve into their past memories, commenting on their past characteristics. She reminds him of his odd hatred of Jolly Ranchers. He says that he never hated them. He said so because they were her favorites. Morgan quiets down and decides to check on Elijah, but he stops her. She doesn't want to delve into it right now, but he tells her that he has wanted her ever since he met her, and his biggest regret has been not telling her that. He thinks that she felt the same. Morgan nods, but says it doesn't matter anymore. She has Clara, and now it is all that matters. However, he keeps expressing his love for her. She asks about Jenny if he ever loved her. He says yes, and he wanted to be right to her, but she was not right to him. Neither did Chris to her, and they should not let them dictate their lives. He leaves. At the theater, Clara says that they should make love on prom night. Days pass by, and Morgan renovates the house, getting rid of all the old stuff, mostly belonging to Chris. Clara keeps spending her time with Miller, and sometimes with his grandfather as well. Morgan, while checking out an old album, comes across the pool photo, and once more remembers that memory. She texts Jonah to see if they can talk. Clara tells Miller that her mother is being too ignorant, getting rid of her father's stuff like he never existed. Jonah comes in, and she kisses him instantly, but immediately backs off. She says she shouldn't have done that, but he comes closer and says it's okay. They begin to kiss. Just then, Clara returns and sees them like that. She instantly locks herself in her room, calling them disgusting. Morgan requests that she open the door and asks Jonah to leave. She sobs and then texts Miller to come over, along with a condom. He can get in from a window. She freshens herself, and he appears in time. They make out and eventually make love. She then begins to cry, and he stops and asks her what is going on. She tells him the truth, and he gets furious that she asked him to do it just to unleash her anger on her mother. He decides to leave, but she cries and requests that he stop. He feels bad and says he will stay until she falls asleep. The next morning, Morgan, finding the room still locked, uses the spare key to open it. Seeing them together in the bed, chaos ensues. Miller tries to leave from the window, but she orders her to use the door, and he leaves. It is Clara's birthday, and at school, Miller hands her her birthday present. She likes it and invites her to her house, saying it's her birthday, so she can invite who she likes. Soon, Jonah appears behind. He talks to her alone and says to explain last night is complicated. She doesn't want to hear about it and leaves. At the birthday dinner, everyone is awkwardly quiet. Miller tries to barge into a conversation. Jonah asks about his short film, but Clara says they are too busy having sex. Awkwardness grows, and Clara keeps going at her mother and Jonah at every turn, which makes Miller get up and leave. She runs to stop him. He is furious and says he doesn't like how he is being used as her trope to unleash her anger on her mother. She protests that he cannot make love with her and dump her just like that. Miller says she is the one who used him. He says his grandfather's chemo will begin from next week and leaves. Lexi comes in with a wine bottle, saying this might be the best time to pop it. She decides to reach the graveyard along with her and get drunk at her aunt's grave. Morgan locates her phone. She cries in her drunk state and says she caused the accident. Soon, her mother appears there and she takes her home. She caresses her when Clara says that she is the one who caused the accident and falls asleep. In the morning, when she comes down with a headache, Morgan gives her some pills to ease it and asks what she meant by saying the accident was her fault. She says that she was constantly texting Jenny when it happened and it might have caused it. Morgan consoles her, saying it's not the case. Jenny was never driving, it was her father. After calming down, she asks what she has not been telling her. Why were they even together? Morgan finally reveals the truth. She merely wanted to protect her. They were having an affair. But she doesn't want her to think any less of them because they both loved her. She asks about her and Jonah, but Morgan promises her that it was their first kiss ever. She could never do that to Chris or her sister. Yet they did it to them, Clara replies. Morgan nods but consoles her. They should not dominate how they lead the rest of their lives. Suddenly, she sees that Jonah has texted her to see if she is all right. Clara tells her that she deserves to be happy. That night, Clara reaches the theater to look for Miller and rushes at him. Jonah checks out their old photos and thinks of going to Morgan's house, but she is just at the door. They make out and later burn down the letters together. Days pass by, and one day, Miller brings everyone together to show a film he made. It is a surprise for Clara. He has shot so much footage, beginning with one of her theater performances. He catches them from his perspective to express his love for her. After it finishes, while everyone talks of his film career, and he is still skeptical, Hank says that the air he owns is actually worth a value. Apparently, in the state, one can buy the air space to make multiple stories, and he has enough of that to pay for his tuition, along with his treatment. Morgan calls her daughter alone and says she is very proud of her, and she should definitely follow what she wants to. Now, days later, Miller has brought the city limit sign by his house and orders some pizza. You were watching the recap of the 2025 movie, Regretting You. Stay subscribed to the channel if you have liked the video. Till the next upload, you may also enjoy this.